7th, 2024. We'll call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the council meeting tonight. Thanks for being here. All right, Lisa, we call roll, please.
Here.
Councilmember Hubbard.
Here.
Councilmember Wong.
Here.
Councilmember Grau.
Here.
Mayor Winchell.
Here. All right, next is item 4, adopting the agenda. Are there corrections or additions to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve agenda.
Motion by Councilmember Hatfield,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hubbard. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have some proclamations tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and read them. Not sure if anyone is here for any of these, but I will, I can hand them out after the fact. But first one I have on my list is manufacturing. So this is a proclamation and recognition of Manufacturing Month, October 2024. Whereas the manufacturing industry is a critical part of Minnesota diverse economy, and whereas in 2023 the manufacturing industry contributed 57.2 billion to the Minnesota economy, representing 12% of the state's gross domestic product. And whereas manufacturing workers earned 25.7 billion in wages from Minnesota manufacturing jobs last year, the second largest total payroll among private sector industries. And whereas manufacturing in Minnesota pays an average annual wage of just under 79,000, which is 10% higher than the state's overall average wage. And whereas manufacturing provides more than 325,800 highly skilled, well-paying jobs with significantly contribute to Minnesota's high standard of living and economic vitality. And whereas manufacturers in Chaska employ more than 4,900 workers, earning an average wage of 91,700, significantly enhancing the local economy and making Chaska a better place to live and work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mark Winchell, the mayor of the city of Chaska, on behalf of the city council and the citizens of Chaska, do hereby proclaim October as Manufacturing Month in Chaska. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and the seal of the city of Chaska this 7th day of October 2024. Now, there's no one here from manufacturing. Okay. Let's see anybody move. I have 3 of them tonight. And then I have another one now. This is a proclamation for Indigenous Peoples Day. I'll go ahead and read this one. And I'm going to apologize because there's some names in here that I might not get right, but I'm going to do my best. The area known today as the state of Minnesota is located on ancestral lands that have been called home by the Anishinaabe. Did I say that right, Matt?
I think so.
Anishinaabe, Dakota, and Ho-Chunk people since time immemorialized. That Anishinaabe, Dakota, and the Ho-Chunk people who resided on this land prior to the arrival of the European settlers experienced a history of interactions with the Europeans and the Euro-American settlers, defined by violence, broken promises, deprivation, and disease. This is the history we must reconcile as we seek to build a brighter future for all Minnesotans and the city of Chaska, while striving to maintain a strong government relationship and strengthen tribal sovereignty. And whereas Minnesota is home to 11 tribal nations, enrolled members of many other tribal nations, and a resilient and robust urban American Indian community. And whereas Indigenous people have made essential contributions to the history, culture, and economy of Minnesota, including traditional knowledge, labor, technology, science, philosophy, industry, and arts. And whereas Chaska is a city in Minnesota, and the name Chaska is the birth order name of the Dakotan family's first son. And whereas the state of Minnesota, the city of Chaska strive to eliminate systemic racism and discrimination towards Indigenous peoples, seek to promote practices and policies that honor Indigenous roots, history, contributions, recognize Indigenous peoples as contemporary people, and is committed to meaningful and genuine government to government relationships with tribal nations that share the state and the city's geography. And whereas Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed in 1977 and the United Nations sponsored International Conference on Discrimination Against Indigenous Population in the Americans. And whereas Indigenous People Day serves an important time to reflect on the experiences of Indigenous peoples to ensure greater access and opportunity. And whereas the city of Chaska joins a growing number of government entities across the country that have recognized the second Monday in October as Indigenous Peoples Day to promote appreciation, tolerance, reconciliation, understanding, friendship, and continued partnerships among all of its people and its Indigenous people of this land. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mark Windschuttle, the mayor of City of Chaska, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Chaska, do hereby proclaim Monday, October 14th, and every second Monday of October thereafter as Indigenous People Day. In witness whereof, I hereundo set my hand and the seal of the City of Chaska on the 7th day of October in the year of our Lord 2024. And one more, and we also have where's the other one? Here it is. And I know they're here, Southern Valley Alliance, they're gonna do, I'm trying to find my resolution, sorry here. They're here under visitor presentation for October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I'm going to read the proclamation first, and then I will let them present, and I will give them this proclamation. So, in recognition of Domestic Violence and Awareness Month, whereas in the city of Chaska, in recognition of the critical work being done by domestic violence advocates in the service of survivors and victims they serve, I encourage all citizens to actively engage in the work and events sponsored by Southern Valley Alliance and other organizations working toward the elimination of domestic violence. And whereas 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men in the U.S. have been victims of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. And whereas more than 23,000 calls are placed to domestic violence hotlines nationwide every day. And whereas calls to our local domestic abuse crisis line, Southern Valley Alliance, have increased 23% in the last year. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is felt not only to individuals and families, but communities and the nation as a whole. And whereas Chaska joins with others across the state of Minnesota and nationwide in supporting domestic violence victims and survivors, the advocates and the organizations who serve them, and the holding offenders accountable in Chaska. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mark Windschuttle, Mayor of the City of Chaska, on behalf of the Chaska City Council and the citizens of Chaska, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and the seal of the City of Chaska the 7th day of October in the year of our Lord 2024. So I have those. And now there is a representative here. You may come up and just state your name, please.
Thank you. My name is Rebecca Ribich, and I'm one of the board members for Southern Valley Alliance, Minnesota. Thank you very much for this proclamation and for being a partner with Southern Valley for so many years. Southern Valley is the only comprehensive provider of domestic violence services to Scott and Carver County. And they were founded in 1980, and recently in January of this year, located from Belle Plaine, Minnesota to Shakopee. And the relocation has centralized our ability to provide services for these counties and the individuals that they serve. Since January alone this year, we're seeing an incredible increase in the number of calls that are coming in. There are well over 2,200 calls and over 1,100 victims served this year already. So I think the move to a more central location is really increasing our visibility and helping us be able to reach out and provide additional services. Last year, we were also able, through a number of grants and programs, to be able to implement transitional housing programs that have increased. First of the kind in the community, really, for domestic violence victims. There's 7 scattered apartment sites around these counties where victims and their families are able to safely have housing for up to 12 months at a time now. In addition to just having housing, we're also able to support them in safety planning, education, childcare, financial education, and job search assistance, just to help them create that stability as they move forward from some of these traumatic events in their lives. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we continue to try to get the word out into the community through partnering with councils, organizations, community members at various festivals and events. And we're truly appreciative of the fact that we're able to do that at events like this and have your support and be able to continue to let people know we're out there, we exist, and to be a resource wherever we're able to. So again, thank you for being able to get some new statistics and numbers out there. And we're just going to continue to provide services for the community to the extent possible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? Anyone have any questions?
Thank you for all the good work that you continue to do year after year, so.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
We get a picture real quick?
We got a photo op.
We can just do it as long as we're in front of the council.
Right here?
Yeah, that's. As long as everyone doesn't mind being in it.
You know,
Still make you stand.
Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Flexible. Stand a big shot was a gigantic and $50 use. Good work. Something I did want to say about manufacturing.
All right, go ahead.
So for the proclamation regarding manufacturing month, from the numbers that were actually in the proclamation, where it said that that manufacturing workers contribute 57.2 billion to Minnesota's economy, assuming that's spread evenly across the 325,800 manufacturing jobs. That means that every manufacturing worker in the state generates an average of $175,567 in economic and an economic return for the state. But that means that because there's 4,900 workers in Chaska by proclamation, Chaska contributes 860.2 million in economic revenue to the state. So when you really think about it, that's a huge amount of economic development, of economic return that manufacturing alone, there's other jobs here besides manufacturing, but manufacturing jobs generate. That just thinking alone on an annual basis, Chaska manufactured jobs generate 860 million in revenue for the state. That's huge. So just want to call it out to thank you to all the manufacturing companies, the employees, everyone who's involved with manufacturing. You know, it's a huge impact, a really positive impact that it brings to the state, and we should definitely continue to support manufacturing here in our community.
Yeah, I believe this is the first proclamation that we've done of that, so the numbers were very interesting as well. Did you just do all that math quickly now?
No, I did my homework.
You did your homework, all right. But I agree. I mean, we're very fortunate. We got 2 industrial parks and hopefully a 3rd one, in the next few years coming about on board. So, those are all, very positive for our city. So hopefully we'll just keep moving forward, and I agree. Thank you to all the manufacturing that are here in our city and across the state. All right, anyone else have any comment on proclamations or anything? Okay. All right, is there anyone else that wants to speak on visitor presentation that's not an agenda item? Okay, we'll move on to approving previous meeting minutes, and that's from 9/16 of 2024. Again, if there are no corrections or additions, I would entertain a motion to approve. Motion. Who was that?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Councilmember McGraw,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hubbard. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. All right, we move on to consent. These are items that need our approval, but not necessarily a conversation. But any and all can be pulled and discussed at any point. So with that, is there anyone that has any comments or concerns on the consent?
I have a question. I have a question on item 8B, which is the adopting ordinance to repeal Chapter 5, Article 32 of the Chaska Code of Ordinances. In this item, that it states that after the repeal, that effectively a number of sections after 5.32.010 or after 5.32 are removed, but yet in the after repeal section, that as it's redlined in the example, it shows that 5.32010 license required, 5.320.020, 030, 040, and 050 still exist. So it looks like all we're doing is we're taking out the fee sections, but and just disabling the collections of the ordinances themselves, but the ordinance itself still remains. So I'm a little confused as like how that was implemented, because the way it reads, it looks like someone who's, you know, has a menagerie or circus or wants to do a public forum, it still has to appear at the city and announce it, but then they're just not liable for any fees.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this quick, Annalise, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but I think the repealing of it, all of them is happening at the bottom section, so it's
For the red line.
where the red lines are, it's repealing. It's repealing each one of those sections of 5.32,
Yeah, I'm a little confused because
including fees.
because it says before repeal and it lists 5.32, it lists all of those sections, and then it says after repeal, then it lists them all again.
So we,
And then it has red lines, so it's
when we're keeping track of these,
Yeah.
for historical purposes, we keep track of what was the ordinance, but then afterwards we'll put if it was repealed or not.
Okay.
So I mean, it's the bottom part of that is basically repealing that section, meaning that it's no longer in effect. It gives some historical reference to what it was repealing.
okay.
Otherwise, somebody'd look at it and wouldn't know what it was repealing.
Okay, so in effect, you have to demonstrate this is what
This is what it was, and this is what.
So in the ordinance, it'll show the full.
So it does say, it says before repeal.
Yep.
In there, and then it goes on to say after the repeal.
Yep, and then at the end, then it says that each section, which is basically the entire 5.32 is repealed.
So it still has the after repeal will still show the effectively the headers for those major sections in there as they originally were with the the red lines.
To be able to
added,
demonstrate
to
exactly
demonstrate it.
what was.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, well, that makes sense. So yeah, it just was like just the way that the legal
Yeah, I get
stuff
what you're
was
saying.
captured, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That is fine. I'm good.
Anyone else? Questions? All right, motion to approve consent.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Wong,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hatfield. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, post same sign. Motion carries. All right, moves us on to item 9A, adopt resolution 2024-76, public assessment hearing on resolution approving the imposition of service charge for 2025 downtown special district, special services district.
Mayor and council members, I'm gonna turn this one over to Elise.
I'm gonna actually turn it to.
There we go. Ping pong.
Or you can turn it to.
We're gonna turn it over to me. Thank you, Mayor and council members. As you may recall, this item comes before the council every year. And it's just to establish the Chaska's Downtown Special Service District fees and their annual budget. So special service districts, as this one down in downtown Chaska, are typically established at the request of property owners within a specific area who opt to pay a special assessment for an increased level of service and amenities that typically they're not normally provided by the city. So it's above and beyond. The Chaska's Downtown Special Service District was established in 2014, and this year's 2025 proposed budget is for $58,100, which is the same as it has been for the last 5 years. There's not an increase this year. The Chaska Downtown Business Alliance manages these funds, and they use them to assist and promote businesses throughout the downtown area. Some of the things they do marketing promotion, like on their social media accounts and on the website. They create opportunities for businesses to have conversations and work with each other, especially at their monthly meetings. They do some business recruitment and retention. And one of the big things they do is organize and promote local events, such as like what's coming up. The Halloween trick or treat is coming up on October 26th. Deer Weekend will be November 9th. And then Hometown Holiday will be on December 7th. This year, several businesses that actually have, that are located just outside of the special or the service district. They have expressed interest in becoming part of the downtown special service district. So next year, the Business Alliance will be initiating an effort to identify which businesses nearby wish to join the district and then go through a process to expand it by 2026. So you'll hear more about that next year. On an annual basis, the council is required, as I mentioned, to approve the operating budget and service charges that will be specially assessed. It does require the council hold a public hearing and adopt the resolution that has been attached to your packet. The plan will enable the Business Alliance to further promote and revitalize downtown. Public hearing notices and the proposed charges for each property were sent out several weeks ago. And given the support and the work that has been done by the Downtown Business Alliance, staff is recommending the council hold a public hearing and then adopt the resolution that's in front of you. I do want to mention Dan Keyport, the president of the Downtown Business Alliance, is here and will wish to speak at the public hearing on behalf of the Alliance. Otherwise, I can take any questions if you have them or turn it over to public hearing.
My only question would be, why wait until next year to put the feelers up?
There's a process that you have to go through with notices. There's a process of identifying who, and then there's a process to actually amend the map. And then once the map is amended, there's another process to assign those fees and adopt a new budget.
And maybe to expand on that, if it's okay, and the feelers have already kind of been put out as far as that, like the conversations have largely been had. It's more or less next year's all the paperwork and formalizing, but a lot of those conversations to just say, hey, is that something you want to do? I think they have some understanding of the cost and all of that. So it's more the paperwork probably. part of it that takes a little bit longer and.
We have had discussions with the Business Alliance about it, trying to get them to come to the meetings and including them throughout the year, this coming year, to be a part of what the events and everything that happens.
So with additional businesses being a part of the special service district, if you keep, would you keep the same budget or would you expand the budget because there's more businesses, more marketing to be done? What's kind of,
That's a discussion that will have to be had through the next year.
But I think Dan could probably share a little bit about their thoughts on that one.
perfect.
Good evening. Thank you for having me today. I'm Dan Keyport. I am Chaska resident, and I'm an owner of the Chaska Depot, so commercial property downtown, and I'm president of the Downtown Business Alliance. I think back to when the Downtown Business Alliance started. I've been involved with this since 2005 or 6. And back in those days, we organized as a 501c6, and it was a group of volunteers. And we put on Hometown Holiday and we put on the Oktoberfest stuff, and it was a lot of work. You think about a group like that, the pool of potential members is business and property owners downtown. These are busy folks. And just doing an event like Hometown Holiday burns people out. And that's not a sustainable model. And so in talking with the city and with others, this notion of a special services district was presented. And so we thought about it, talked about it, debated it, got together with other businesses and actually canvassed the downtown business community and convinced people to vote yes, to tax themselves more, to create a fund where we could have paid help to go do some of this stuff. And that has been incredibly valuable. We have a vibrant downtown today that we wouldn't have without those funds and that staff to make this stuff happen. And so, I know as I'm no longer a business owner downtown, but I'm still a building owner. And I know that because of these efforts, my building is worth more today than it would be if this wasn't happening. So I'm grateful for the support of the city and of the downtown business community in keeping this very positive thing going for all of us. We look at our mission and our vision and all that, and at the end of the day, I think the greatest value that this organization brings to the city is that we are a voice for the business community to the city, and we're a voice for the city to get back to the business community. And particularly when there's things like all this road construction, that has been so valuable to get the city and the engineering people and the contractor and the businesses in the room together to hash out some tough issues. And so I think that's been incredibly valuable. And I'm appreciative of the city, of their support in making this work. So Taylor, you asked about will we raise the assessment when we have a larger district? So we've had, the interest really has come from people like Shrams on one side and Cuzzies on the other. And they see the value in this and they want to get engaged. And right now today, we can't spend money on them because they're not in our district. So we can't really promote them on Facebook or anything like that. I don't know the answer. Will we need more money? I kind of don't think we will, because the social media efforts are the same. It's just more players. And they're participating in events today. We just have to be careful around what we can say and can't say about them. I think the addition of additional properties in the pool kind of lowers everybody else's rate if we don't raise their spending. But we've looked at the spending. That's a discussion we have every year is, if we don't have something to spend it on, we're not going to raise it. If we don't know where it's going to go and how it's going to be an additional benefit, we're not interested in coming up here and begging for more money. So that number's been working and we're staying with it, but no intention at this point to raise it. I'm not going to make any promises, but we will look at that as we look at our budget next year. So any questions?
With what Dan was saying, I think he did a great job of just sort of outlining the benefits of the special services district. The other one, sort of going back to when you guys had sort of your own nonprofit, do it yourself. At that point, you really are relying on the people who are willing to participate. And so either be it money or time or whatever, the people who are willing to participate make it happen. But then you have other people who benefit from it who maybe aren't participating. And so I think the benefit of a special service district is it makes sure that if there's a benefit coming to the downtown, that everybody's contributing to it.
Any other questions? All right, so. Thank you. All right, thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Like this says here, this is a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing up at 7:31. And then I will ask if there's anyone that wants to speak regarding this at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to speak. I'm John Siegfried. I'm a Chaska resident, also property owner in downtown Chaska. And Dan, thanks for being the good cheerleader that you are. Most have some pom-poms. You're so excited, but anyway, I've got a few things that might not be as positive as what Dan brings up. I'm going to start very simply and ask about allocation of funds. And one, of course, is business recruitment and retention. And I don't know exactly what our efforts are that are put forth. I've been kind of remiss in attending these meetings in the last couple of years. But my impression, especially between 2nd and 3rd Streets on the east side of Chestnut, it's in need of some business recruitment and retaining the ones that currently are there. And maybe some more money should be focused on that aspect of the special services district. And I've been in favor of the special services district since it was really organized or to be more effective. That was about 2016, I think. And so I'm not opposing the concept at all. I just need some other clarification. One being, when we talk about the downtown, and I've got the map that shows what the special services district currently is, but then when we have some of the events outside of that area, specifically the River City Days, which the last couple of years now has been at Lions Park, I think that's something that should be looked at again. I know it's a lot more convenient maybe out there, but still, if the downtown dollars are for downtown activities, downtown or activities should be downtown. And I know then it brings us back to the city square and the issue of the gazebo and getting rebuilt and so forth and so on. But that's something that seems to raise the issue that maybe we aren't looking at this thing 100% accurately.
No, River City Days is a board of individuals and it's a festival ran by an organized group. So I don't think it has any sort of affiliation with the Business Alliance as far as funding goes, just so you know, yeah, or the city. It's not facilitated by the city, it's facilitated by a group of individuals. And the main objective, I think, is to benefit like nonprofits from the funds generated from it. And so I just want to make sure that you're clear that your dollars that you're being taxed, as part of this group, that is not a component of that.
Well, I appreciate that. I was one of the original organizers of that River City Days years ago. And in recent years, I haven't been as active, maybe inactive as far as the community celebrations are concerned. So thanks for that clarification, Councilmember Hubbard. So anyway, the business retention and development certainly needs some additional emphasis in some parts of town, let's put it that way. So then I want to get a little bit far afield, but I think it's still connected. And that, of course, is, and this is directly involving the city of Chaska. And that has to do with taxation and ownership of properties and that sort of thing. And what I want to do is just try to get the ball rolling on this for some clarification. I'm not going to get into the issue in depth, but of course I get my property tax statement for a parcel that is a city parking lot now, and it shows the city of Chaska as the taxpayer name, and then the mailing address is One City Hall Plaza. And I've been talking to the county about this, land records, talked to administration there, got some advice from county attorney, and they are in 100% agreement that the city of Chaska happens to own that parcel. And then how that reflects onto the fact that I've been paying the real estate taxes, and it's obviously an eminent domain situation.
So John, I'm gonna take a pause here.
Yeah,
I think we're getting off of what we're into right now. And is this parcels in litigation that we really can't even discuss any of that? I'm gonna ask that question of our city attorney.
I believe it is in litigation and it's not resolved yet.
So, John, at this point, we really can't get into any of that. Well, you can chuckle and laugh, but we can't.
well, if the county had, and the only reason I brought this up is because some of the dollars that I pay on real estate taxes include the special services district. That's the connection there. So I just brought it up, and now you'll know it's an issue and you don't have to comment. And it is kind of an amusing situation if you were in my position, from the standpoint that just something as basic as who owns a parcel, whether it's in litigation or not, should be able to be established. So that's that. That's pretty basic. So I'm just going to give this information to the city attorney, and he can look at it. And I know the procedure is to talk to your attorney, and attorney will talk to the city's attorney that's in this issue. And
That's the way the system works.
well,
I hear what you're saying, but that's the way the system works. I can't change it.
no, but sometimes things can be sped up, though, if a little direction is given to kind of,
Could be both sides.
right,
So
and the court.
I don't know about it, so I'm gonna stop there. I
Yeah,
just don't know enough about, once it goes into litigation stuff, I'm not privy
I
to all that.
appreciate that comment, Mr. Mayor. So that's the farthest that I'm going to pursue that point. But again, I am serious about the reallocation of some of the dollars to hit that business development and retention issue up to a greater extent than maybe it's getting addressed now with the budget that was presented. So thank you very much for your time,
Thank you.
council members.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak? Hello, David.
How you doing?
Good.
Dave Van Orden, Chaska resident, local business owner, and I just want to comment, nice job, John. I think we've lost a lot when we lost River City days. That kind of made Chaska the best small town. And we're kind of seeing a little deterioration. in the city. People sleeping on picnic benches, things like that. So again, you pretty much covered everything that I wanted to bring up. So thank you.
Dave, I will say that I don't disagree with you. That's a loss. And, you know, with the construction that was going on and the park was supposed to be under construction. And it's taken us 2 years to get approval from 2 organizations to be able to even work in the park. So it's been very challenging for us and it's not been easy. And like Councilmember Hubbard said, unfortunately, River City Days doesn't belong to us. And they right now have said that they prefer it at Lions Park. So it's hard for us to dictate to them that they have to come back. So I just want you to understand that it's really not our to say.
Is there anything that the Business Alliance can do?
I mean, that would have to be a conversation between the Business Alliance and the River City Days committee, you know, because it's unfortunately, most of the places that are events that aren't happening at City Square now like their other events because there's more room. And I don't know, do you blame them for that? I don't know. It's, like I said, I'm with you. It's been very challenging. I don't like the fact that they've left there, but now that they've left, I mean, because of what was going on, they love where they moved to. And I don't know how you change that. I mean, the first time around, I remember talking to them, they said, well, boy, we really like this. And then last year they totally revamped it, moved everything, and they talked about how much better they like it there. They got more vendors, they have more everything. I don't know what to do, Dave. I mean.
Well, I think whether it's something else, I think we need to think of something as the alliance.
There's opportunities there. I think, you know, as Dan had mentioned, or maybe it was Julie had talked about some of the upcoming retail events that you have, like Deer, Hometown Holidays. You know, those are all like, for at least this year, those are some upcoming good events. But I think maybe it leaves an opportunity for the Downtown Business Alliance to maybe, you know, the businesses to put their heads together and maybe collaborate on something for Fire and Ice, because that's not it's a little farther, but it's not as far as Lions Park. Maybe there's a tie-in during the summer months. That could be an opportunity.
But these are all business people too.
Mhm.
I mean, we're used to doing things on our own. And I think we probably lack a little communication through the alliance from what so I think there's some internal problems that need to be fixed, so.
Go ahead.
I was gonna leave this for my comments in a little bit, but I can talk about it now. I think, so I attend every Downtown Business Alliance meeting. I think I've probably missed less than 5 in the last 6 years. And one thing I think that's been very exciting this year, especially with quite a bit of investment in the Paseos, which includes between 2nd and 3rd Street, on the east side and down onto 5th, is how do we kind of program those to make up for some of those events that'll actually, because sometimes I heard with River City Days, it didn't do a lot for the businesses. People didn't really wander down because they were so focused on being on the park. I think there's probably 2 sides to that, but I think some exciting things is how do we program those paseos for maybe a winter market or something like a farmer's market that's actually happening in those paseos, and kind of spread it out so that all the businesses get the love on the east side and eventually the west side, what that looks like too over there. And there's actually a group from the U of M and Julie, or at least I'm gonna maybe butcher this, but they are students in business marketing classes that are working on, there's a certain, I don't know, Julie, who brought it up? Maybe you could better talk. I feel like I'm gonna mess it up, but.
Yeah, so it's the opportunity to work with students who can give ideas on what we can do in those spaces and just bring a different light, somebody outside the community And it's that opportunity to get additional eyes on and different ideas. Right now, unfortunately, that particular project's on hold.
Right.
So, but it's still out there and it's still an opportunity for us.
But there's very much conversations about, okay, we don't have River City Days happening in the park. What are other events we can do that are gonna really bring people downtown and push them into the shops, push them into the restaurants? And I've been very impressed with those that attend the meetings, at least that's where I see it happening. The conversation is that they're coming up with really solid ideas of doing that, there's businesses involved and invested in that. Cause I think you're right, like that was a loss, but there is ways to push people in. So those conversations are happening, but I think more of those conversations absolutely are gonna be of great benefit.
Right. Well, just let people know that there is a downtown.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're driving into Chaska, you tell your vehicle to take you to Chaska. You go down Highway 212 heading west, you turn off on 41, take a right. Downtown Chaska is left.
It's taking it to the center of town. That's what it does.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
noticed that too, that it does that, but we have no control over.
No, I just had to make that.
I mean, we did, we got the signage out on the highway, historic, downtown district and things like that. But Dave, that about getting people down here is, I've been in this community a long time. I've ran different things within this city. And like when I was part of the ballpark, I'd run into people on the north side and say, hey, have you ever come down to a Cubs game? What's that? Where's that? Where's Athletic Park?
Right.
It's so hard to get people to understand that there's two parts of the city. And we try to do things. And I think, I will say the Fire and Ice, I think, has brought more of the North Chaska downtown.
Right.
And I think that has been a good boost for here. And I think that we just need to, keep building on that to let people see what's really down here. It's been one of the biggest challenges, to tell people, hey, there's stuff down here. And we can say River City Days in the park. I'll still ask people, hey, you coming down to River City Days? What's that? It just stays with that certain focus of groups. And I don't know how to get past it.
Yeah. Well, everybody's just gotta put your heads together, I guess, but.
I think we shouldn't forget too, that beyond just the sales, there's the opportunity for us to shut down Second Street. And to, cause Shakopee does it for events.
Yeah, I was gonna say, clarify that a little bit.
For events, sorry.
And in or.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shakopee does that, on a weekly basis, finds a way to do that, to shut down streets for events and bring in a lot of people. So sometimes we forget that we have a big street network in the downtown in our business district. There's a lot of space to do stuff that brings people probably closer to the businesses even than City Square Park.
And we're all on the same track.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I don't know if I'm even supposed to say this, but I'm gonna say it. We're not supposed to hold events in City Square Park because of, what is
The
the organization?
historical nature.
The historical, but the
Indigenous, like.
I wanna
history
get
of
the
it.
right.
Indian Affairs Council.
Yes.
Minnesota Indian Affairs Council prefers us not to hold any events there. So that makes it very challenging for us because we just went through a 2-year process to try to upgrade the park. I'm talking just simple sidewalks and fixing a building that needs repair. It took us 2 years. And we just got approval last week, I think. But now we don't really want to start it. We don't want it to be under construction during Christmas and the hometown holidays. So I don't know if anything's really gonna take place. We can do some things that won't affect that maybe in case the weather changes quickly on us. But that becomes a new challenge. If we wanted to keep some of these events here, we might not have been able to. And I will say that they have way more control than we do of that park. And I don't know, it's
We're just gonna
new
have-
thing we're dealing with.
Put our
Well,
heads
I see
together.
Rumors from some of the old timers that those aren't even buried mounds.
And that's something,
How
I
do
mean,
you know?
if, I've been told that they've gone in there and done the sonic or whatever it is, and that there are remains there. And we have to go with that. We have nothing else to go on. I agree. I've heard the same things. I swear that I've saw a picture when that was flat, but it's never been found since. But anyways, that's a tough one, but we have to go by what's in front of us today. And we just don't have a lot of options there, but I totally get what you're saying, but I think that it all goes back to what everybody's been saying up here. We have to get creative and find those new things to do. And, you know, when the Special Services District was formed, that was the idea behind it, because that's really the businesses doing that with support from the city, not the city doing it with the support of the businesses. The businesses, that's what the budget's for, to be able to have that, to be able to do things instead of the same 5 busy people trying to do all of those events all the time. Now you have a group, and you have an executive director, Dan, is that the name? Is that her title, Jen? Yeah. Executive director, and so you have someone that does that, you know. But I think, you know, we went through a tough year with construction last year, and I think we're getting back on our feet. I think we're, last I've talked to staff is that we're seeing, we're generating more interest in buildings downtown now that things are done. I think there's something going in the old Dunn Brothers. I believe it's another coffee shop. So I think that my hope is that we're going to see that turnover, and that's change is starting to come. I totally understand where you're coming from, because it's pretty hollow down there right now. And we need to get some of that filled in, and hopefully that this will start happening. You know, one of them was MnDOT building, or, you know, offices. So they're gone now. And so the hope is to get something in there permanent, and something that generates foot traffic. Foot traffic's what we want.
Right,
you know.
exactly. So, all right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks for bringing it up, Dave. Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:52. And then we still need to take a vote on a resolution 2024-7.
Well, Mel has one speech to give before.
I was gonna make some
Mel is?
comments though.
Yeah, she has a
Mel's
speech
coming
to
up?
give, yeah.
Sure.
I was gonna make some comments though, on just, because I do
Absolutely.
get to attend these meetings every
Yep,
month.
you're a rep.
And I
Oh,
love that.
absolutely.
I don't know that I love them being at 7:30, but that's okay. So over the last, several years, it's been really amazing to see the businesses come together and how resilient they are, and to see so many of the benefits of the road construction. If I never see another orange cone, I won't be sad, but, and how it's come along since then. I was asking Elise before this, has it been a year or 2 years since we reopened 41? Because it just felt like such a long time we were in it. It's been a year, but really, and the benefit, I get asked, and I see on social media a lot, like, what is the city doing for downtown? And I think that's a valid question, but I always want to jump and be like, a lot. And I certainly hope those on the Downtown Business Alliance feel that. So some quick things just to kind of share so you guys all hear it. If you look at the budget, about 1/3, a little less maybe than 1/3 of that actually comes from the city and properties we own in downtown. So that's kind of us putting our money where our mouth is, and saying we believe in this too. And really just getting to see businesses open. There's a new, I think, dog groomer type business opening on 2nd Street. We've seen a business that's off Chestnut between 2nd and 3rd on the east side reinvest in one of their buildings. And just a few months ago, we saw a proposal for them to put a patio on the back of it, really saying, there's this cool paseo here. I want to take advantage of that for my building. We've seen the mill use dollars for some of our programs in downtown to put a new deck on the front of it. We saw Red Bench Bakery use some of our programs to add on a new business. And so a lot of that is really through conversation and through things like the Downtown Business Alliance, to have those conversations and say, what are the needs of the businesses? during the downtown construction last year, one big thing we heard was, we need this road open by November 4th. That's what the businesses said. They needed the road open. I think it was November 4th, the first weekend in November for Deer Weekend. It was at that meeting that staff put their heads together, worked really hard to work with our contractors to get that road open. That's when the road opened. That was a direct result of the businesses having a voice here in Chaska to say, this is really important to us. We need it open. And staff, very proud of how staff came together and made that happen. But that is the kind of things happening. And so much on social media, I see really negative things about downtown. And I just want to use this time to say words are powerful. And we need to speak about our downtown really positively. Because when you don't, people just hear there's nothing downtown. Guess what? They're not going to come downtown because you told them there's nothing down there. So I think it's really important that we speak really positively of our downtown. That when you're on social media, stand up for these businesses and say, that's not true. And I see the businesses do that for themselves and say, no, we love being in downtown Chaska. There's a lot going on here. But I think that words are powerful. And I think unfortunately there's some voices saying there's nothing downtown, and that's just the complete opposite of true. I see a lot of businesses reinvesting in their buildings and their properties and in their businesses. I see really resilient businesses owners, some of the strongest business owners I've ever seen, that are downtown. I just think it's really important that we keep, that's why I'm always excited for this night, because we get to hear from the Downtown Business Alliance and I get to talk about how much I love our downtown businesses. But I think we need to just keep that going. And I'm always a very happy yes on this vote, and always very proud to talk about our downtown. So that's what I had to say. There's a lot of good things downtown. There's a lot of great businesses. And I always see full patio at La Hermosa, and it just makes my heart happy. And people going into Carver Junk, you know, this Christmas, maybe commit to buying all your gifts downtown. There's a great new gift shop that opened on Pine Street. Great ones in Second and on Chestnut. So that'd be my challenge to Chaska's, to commit to shopping and eating downtown this holiday season. That's it.
Thank you. That was very well said.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think, you know, and you talked about that, and that another one was, you know, the initial plan was to keep 41 closed all 6 months.
Yep.
And the Business Alliance came forward and said, can't we do something different? And we really, actually, we got it done before bidding because it made a difference in how you bid the project. But we were able to go out and put that in there that, hey, let's, you know, work there first and then be able to come around from Walnut and Pine to be able to get on to 41 and go south over the river. So I think the Downtown Business Alliance, like you said, has made an impact, because now they're coming to us as a group versus one person that wants it, hurry up, get it done. And one says, I can't leave it closed for 6 months. So I think it came together as a group force, and it made a big difference.
And even adding to what you both said, that originally, remember when they first looked at the 41 redevelopment plan, that was supposed to be a 2-year project. Businesses said, there's no way we're going to survive 2 years of like closures and all that stuff. So it went down to 1 year, 6 months closure. And then of course we said, no, wait, we can't deal with 6 months of full closure. So, you know, so the plan changed a lot. And this is a great example of, you know, the business community, staff, as well as electeds, all working together on the same page, you know, to try to align to say, we've got to get this done in a way that's going to help, you know, be best for everyone, right? Because we've got to get this work done, and we've got to get it done as quickly as possible and keep this open as much of the time as we can. So I think that even the communications throughout that, is Councilmember Hatfield was talking about, was like tremendously important, right? A lot of decision making that happened at a high level in terms of like the big decisions, and even the tactical day-to-day decisions of like, do we open or do we allow traffic on parking on one side of the street versus the other? I mean, those tactical things were all discussed in those Downtown Business Alliance meetings. So it's so vitally important that, you know, to have those conversations. And I applaud like all the businesses that are able to attend and participate, because they're the voices that, you know, help make it possible to make sure that the community was represented, and that, you know, the best decisions that were made that were possible at the time. So, you know, the matter of fact, as we got through this as well as we did, you know, was a testament to everyone working together. So that's a big kudos to all the folks in the business community too. Yeah.
All right, anyone else?
I'll just mention real quick, the most difficult person in my life to please is my son, Will. And he came up to me, he's 16. He came up to me probably about a month ago and said, Dad, you know, the downtown looks pretty nice now. I might even go down there. So I thought that was a pretty big compliment coming from him.
Good testament.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw homecoming pictures being taken in front of some of the brick buildings downtown this weekend. Not, and you'd think they'd go to the park, that everyone would go with the gazebo, but they were down behind businesses with beautiful brick walls. It was all sorts of kids. I think they were eating at Patron's and La Hermosa too, so it was really fun to see the kids come down.
Thank you. All right. Last call. All right, so we need, we're adopting resolution 2024-76, which is the, approving the imposition of the service charges for the 2025 Chaska Downtown Special Services District. Someone wanna?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Hatfield, second by Councilmember Long. Again, that's resolution 2024, and that's approving the special services charges for the downtown special services district. A lot of districts services. All right, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Both same sign. Motion carries. All right, thanks everyone for being here. Appreciate it. You're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to leave if you like. You can stay as long as you like. We'll be here for another hour and a half. Come on.
They're gonna list all my questions on bills.
Oh, boy.
All right, so we move on to bills. Anyone have a question?
Yes, I have a few questions. Okay, first, page 11 and 12, there's an item for core and main LP for inventory of horns and swivels. What is this? Are these emergency sirens? Or they're not?
no,
Maybe
these
I'm-
are for the meters.
Water
meters.
Water meters
Meters.
that we're replacing. So it's just the supplies that they ordered in for that.
Okay, so it's just like another term.
That's what they, horns and swivels are in the middle of the horns. Yep. So the horns come up.
So we have four here.
Did not know.
Sorry.
I learned something new today.
He says it as if we all should know
I know.
it. Don't you know?
Like what?
We must have
Where
missed that
in the
day.
heck have you guys been?
I was thinking it's like those emergency sirens that sits in the hole.
Yeah.
It's a horn and it's a swivel. It's like, yeah, that's like, of course that's what it's for, right?
Mark took a
I'm glad I
class.
asked.
No, I just pay attention to things.
Yeah. But you know a few things. Okay.
Not much, but a few.
So, so on page 14, there's an item for a Donley Underground, and there's two items related to fiber project it looks like public safety, but the other one's just sort of for public. So are they related to just city county infrastructure? Or are they actually part of? Or
That's actually the fiber going into our new public safety building.
it's only for the public. It's only the public safety. Okay.
Yep.
Now, because I remember there was someone else who was laying fiber that was public fiber.
Metronet.
Metronet,
Okay.
yeah.
How's that going?
They continue to pull permits. I don't know exactly how far they got this year. I do know that they got into some areas of town because I've had people indicate that they've been approached.
Like Chevelle had a lot of marketing.
So,
Yeah, and they sent a postcard saying, we're doing construction in your area. You're getting new internet coming to town.
so maybe if somebody knows this, how does that work? So they come in here and bring in a new fiber optic.
Mhm.
So then you can leave your current carrier and go
Yeah.
to them then?
Yeah.
Then it just becomes a second option for us.
Yeah, and it's interesting, when Metronet first came when they first came in to talk with us and Chanas, and the discussion became that the discussion was that they were going to provide TV and internet service. But once they provide TV service, now they have to pay a franchise fee. And so when they when they realized that most of their subscribers were probably not going to be getting TV service, they're probably gonna be streaming different services that they had. They dumped the TV side of it and went with just the fiber. So that's how they're able to come into communities. They have to get right-of-way permits from us, but that's the way they're able to come into communities without having a franchise.
So internet, for internet service, you can't
Yeah.
charge
We're
a,
not allowed by
Yeah.
federal law to.
because that's about getting internet service to
Equitable,
everyone.
yeah.
So, but this process has to be still years away. I mean, they haven't even started going to houses yet. have they?
Oh, they have.
Oh, yeah. I
Where?
bet you,
Chevelle.
yeah, I bet you.
I saw like a thing in every
But yeah,
single
that,
yard.
but that postcard I got said that I could have it and that they were doing it near me, so I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can speak personally, but a lot of times, they may not have the infrastructure work until they have an interested party, and then you
Because I don't
with
think,
them in
I don't
order
think
for
I've
them to
gotten
put,
anything.
it in, yeah,
I just had it installed last week
Oh,
and it
okay.
goes pretty fast once they get in a neighborhood.
yep,
Yeah.
They pull those fiber lines, the small ones for each individual house from a long ways away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
'Cause I haven't seen anything around me. That's why I
I
wondered.
think within I would not be surprised over the next summer or two if everybody in Chaska at least has the ability to have access to it.
Then you have a second option for a lot of things.
Yep.
Which is good, because we haven't really had
Well, it's
any
the only
option.
fiber option we have,
Yeah,
you know, because everything else is all cable.
Yep.
Or DSL. Yeah. I don't know if people still use that or not. I don't know.
Not
Bill
willingly.
dial up.
We're still using
Rotary.
AOL.
Yeah.
That's right next to the old rotary.
Yeah, okay. All right, so page 17, there's an item for locality media. It just says software.
Yeah, so this is again for the fire software that they're installing for the, forget what it's called now. But it's basically, it's a new management software for the fire department to be able to manage their calls.
It'd be nice if there was like a little bit more information in the software, so. Okay, and then page 48, there's a couple items for Swan Company for Savannah Way Phase 2, but didn't say what it is.
So that's the construction of that phase of Savannah,
Building that road.
building the road.
Okay.
Actually, I drove through it today. Probably wasn't supposed to, but I did.
Did you get all the way through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open.
Yeah, so it's gonna be open soon. But that's
It's not open to the public.
The
It was
benefits.
open to.
How many cones did you run over?
Yeah.
No, there's,
It's like,
there was no cones there. They were all they were doing was working on the trails. So I gave that I was checking it out for tonight's meeting.
Yep.
So that was
Someone
that's my
has to
story
test
and
the
I'm
road.
sticking to it. All right, sorry, Mike, go back.
no worries. And then the last one I've got here is on pages 36, 37, 40, 42, and 50. I noticed there's a lot of builder's deposit refunds for Pulte, Robert Thomas Homes, and Habitat. So I'm wondering kind of why they're all hitting at the same time, because, you know.
Well,
build-
two reasons. First of all, this time of year, it's not unusual because they need to get their landscaping in to be able to get that builder's deposit back. So it's typical that we'll give a lot of them back this time of year. Second reason is probably more of a practical reason, is that it's our building inspectors that process this. So they'll wait till they have some downtime and they'll process a bunch at once.
Gotcha. So it's just kind of like a couple confluence of a couple different things.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. That is all I have.
I just got a couple questions. I don't know if it's really, one is a bill, there's one in there for Eureka on page 15. Is that just, and it says Creek Road. Is that just final from doing the north end of Creek Road? Because Kusky did.
No, it's a trail.
Eureka's doing the trail?
Well, that's the work that's been done on Creek Road that just got done. Was actually paving the trail.
Oh, so that wouldn't be part of Kusky's bid?
No, I think it was actually separate from.
Oh, so Kusky just did the
The
underground.
underground,
So,
they did the utilities and we had the trail was separate.
oh,
The
okay,
utilities
'cause-
have been done for a a
Cause
while.
I thought it said Creek Road Utilities. That's why I was a little confused. And I just happened to glance, there is a thing in here. So maybe that's final payment from the north end?
It could be, yeah.
I mean, I don't. Things are hard to read, but I see
But the
Eureka
latest
for
one-
133,000, which is what it was.
Which might be the 10% retainage that we had on. it.
Okay, all right, I was
The
just,
latest work we had done on that was the trail itself.
because I thought that was all part of Kusky, but all right. The other question is, so the wells were drilling in 3 different places. Is that like a 2-year, it just seems like it's been going on for a long time, and actually I got called on the one out by Clover that they're drilling.
Yep.
And they're saying that the well keeps collapsing and they have to re-drill. Is that, when they bid those, is that just to put the well in, whatever it takes, the collapsing, is that every time it collapses, is that an additional charge? What I'm trying to think of? Is that-
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because part of the whole building of it is also testing it too. And that's what takes the time is to test it.
Because apparently they're saying they're having a bear of a time, and every time they drill it, it collapses.
I can get you more detail.
And I mean, I don't know, I got asked it, and I went, what do you know about wells?
Yep.
That's a new one, and I see the one that, behind Home Depot, now they're just running water like crazy, and I'm sure that's flushing or whatever. But they seem like they take a long time to make happen, and I've had a lot of people during their amateur, I got questioned multiple times about that, about the well drilling out there, about, well, they finally got their equipment out of there.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably not done though.
Yeah.
So,
There's quite a bit of testing and, before we actually sort of put a building around them and all that.
okay. All right, that's all I got. Anyone else? All right, motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Wong,
Second.
second by Councilmember Grau. Discussion. Hearing none, Elise, we call roll.
Yes.
Councilmember Hubbard.
Yes.
Councilmember Wong.
Aye.
Councilmember Grau.
Yes.
Chairman Jones.
Yes. All right, moves us in other business. Councilmember Grau.
I just have a question on the banners, actually, and I'll be the guy who asks the dumb question. I'm never afraid to be the dumb question guy. So if I look at the banners, downtown banners, maybe just for purposes of the people listening out, want to introduce the banners, and then I'll ask my question. Was that a fair ask? Or I can,
I'll let Julie introduce. the
there you go.
banners.
Just so my question makes relevance to those who may just listen to this online versus read the notes.
Absolutely. We have final designs on the downtown banners, and these are the ones that are gonna go in the center of Highway 41, and they will be permanent because it's difficult to put them up. So I think you have the designs, and basically they were designed to go along with the heritage kiosks that are being completed and kind of to tell the story of the history of some of our buildings downtown. Some might not even be there anymore, but each one is going to be at some point when the heritage kiosks are put up, reflected in those as well, and just kind of telling the story of downtown and Chaska itself, because some of them aren't even downtown. Like go ahead and ask your question, then I can answer.
I just asked a question. I was gonna say, can I ask my dumb question now?
There's no dumb
Oh.
questions.
Is the question in the room with us?
So, okay, look at the designs. Here's
Jeff
So here's the dumb question first, and this, but obviously there's 2 pieces of it. The middle's the pole, right? Like, so that whole image is split between the pole. Okay. I didn't want to make that assumption. That might have been the dumb question, right? Like, they're double-sided, I assume.
They are double-sided and they'll be on each side of the pole.
And then just out of curiosity, like, what is the I mean, it's a little hard because it could be a windstorm, right? What's like the expected life expectancy of how long they'll look nice? What's generally, do we have an idea? I'm just curious.
That's a good question, and I'm not sure I have the answer to it. With other banners that I have done, they've been up for almost 5 years. With these ones, it's going to depend on what materials we use for the printing.
Yeah, over generally, like I said, I like them, they look nice. I think it'll be a couple cherries on top of the ice cream cake, right? When we kind of finish that and kind of complete that look, which will be nice. And I like the designs. Like I said, I didn't want to assume that the split between the two was the pole. Makes sense that that's the pole, so. I had that question,
Are they planning to go up this year?
That is the hope. They were waiting for one more of the banners to be just a little tweaked. It's the one that is on your top right of the page, the one that is of the Chaska Mill, and then go out and have them printed, which shouldn't take too long. So hopefully they'll be up before the end of the year.
And we're using a local vendor to print
Yeah,
those,
look,
aren't we?
yes.
Yep.
The local
Top
vendor
right,
is-
you're tweaking the Teskey building size?
No.
Yes, that's what, yeah.
The only thing what are you tweaking on it, you know?
Adding some doors to the train, so you can tell it's a train. At the bottom, the red, and then just adding some dimension where there's no windows. It was tin at one point, like a tin siding, so you can tell. where
Right,
it
cause
is.
the thing that caught my idea is the red on it. I don't think there was red on it.
That's
Yeah,
the
and
train.
That's the train.
but we're trying to tweak it so it makes.
That's a train.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay then.
Proven, right?
Yes.
Now I get it. I did not get it all along before.
Yeah,
Some wheels over there on
I see
Yeah,
the
but
wheels
without
now.
the one, it's.
I think
yeah.
you need an engine on
I
it.
think you need an engine.
Oh, I could have them do an engine.
I think an engine should be on there. That would,
I thought that was the building too.
I thought it was part of the building.
Yeah, I think when driving at like 30 miles.
Or
an
like the
hour
sliding
there,
door
this
for
is
the
not-
That's what we've
boxcar, but-
asked them to put the sliding doors on and then
But
some
then, does it
lining.
get too detailed?
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought.
Well, there I learned something.
Yeah, you have that like pop art look kind of going with these. It's kind of cool.
The other thing that I will just point out, because I think they're a good resource, is that on October 10th at 7 p.m. is the League of Women's Voters mayor candidate for the city of Chaska. It is scheduled to be a live audience here, right? In this space, but it'll also be on the YouTube channel. So I know there's a lot of commentary you read out there in the social media worlds about no newspaper, hard to get information, hard to understand who's up for election, all those types of things. The League of Women Voters, if you miss it, they have the recordings available and they tend to post those a lot on the social media feed. So great resources. And I, like I said, will just point out the one. 7 p.m. here or your YouTube channel. And that is all I have.
I think the other two council members have an opportunity to participate then. Even though they're not running against,
Yeah.
but they're new members and
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No, they only do uncontested races is my
Yes.
understanding.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure for this. it is just-
Contested.
That's what I meant, thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
That too.
All right.
You're gonna sit out there and. It's good.
Are you done?
I am done. I just, like I said, I pointed out because I think that has been a common thread I've heard is that people.
No,
are
you're absolutely right.
not aware of what's going on, who's up, and so the league does a really good job of hosting those and then reposting those and advertising them for people to consume either live or after the fact, which I think is great.
Okay,
Now I'm done. Thank you.
all right, thank you. Councilmember Hatfield.
Yeah, so, well, I guess I'll start with just piggybacking off of Councilmember Gra. Some voting resources as we're in the last month before the election, specifically for local voting. Vote 411 is a great resource where candidates can answer some questions. The Patriot, which
What
is
is that called? What did you call
Vote 411.
It's by the League of Women.
Yeah.
it?
mhm.
Oh, okay.
So that's an online resource. The Patriot, which is our designated newspaper, also did some questions for candidates. And then there's a new news source, Carver County Local News, coming out. We'll also have a voter's guide where they ask local candidates some questions. So there are some really great ways, despite not having the Herald anymore, which is very sad. But there are still some good ways to learn about who you're voting for in those different resources. So I thought I would mention that. So thanks for queuing that up, Councilmember Grau. And then some events coming up. that you won't want to miss trick or treating downtown, on the 26th at 2. That's always a fun event where there is a ton of people downtown. So I'd encourage you to bring your kids down and trick or treat, but also actually go into the businesses and see what they're about and what they have. Like I said before, earlier in the meeting, you won't be disappointed. So that's on the 26th, Saturday at 2 this month. And then also later that day is the Halloween Jamboree at the community center from 4 to 6. So you can really just make it a whole Halloween day if you want. And then coming up, I thought this was really exciting. On October 18th, the lunchbox. Whoa.
The what?
The lunchbox event with,
Please.
yeah, the Chaska Police are putting on lunchbox event with Janie's Tacos, which is a great taco food truck in the old Cooper's parking lot. And so I believe, let me read this right, the first 70 people get free tacos. So that sounds like probably the best event that's ever happened. So
Yeah.
anytime.
They're really good.
They're a very good taco. I can attest to that. It's a great food truck. You know, go anytime, but yeah, I thought when that popped up, I was like, yes, this is the best. So and certainly a good month for that and everything. So that's Friday, October 18th from 12 to 2. So that's an exciting event coming up. And then I think I'm saying this correctly, but the Katrina Parade is happening at the Chaska Event Center on November 1st from 5 to 9. So enjoy a night of music performances, traditional sweet Mexican bread, traditional Latin American craft vendors, and more. So that'll be sounds like a really fun event put on by Latino Voices, RG Insurance Agency, the Chaska Police Department, the City of Chaska, and the Chaska Human Rights Commission. So another great event to do on November 1st. So that is all I had.
Well, let's see, I only have a few things. First, as it relates to the voting one, just wanted to remind everyone that early voting is available. It started on September 20th and is available through November 1st, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. And there's also extended hours on different days. So for more information, check out the Carver County website. You can vote in either in Chaska, you can vote at the county government center. So if you'd like to just get your vote done early and not have to, brave all the lines on November 5th, then go ahead and, go into the government center during the business hours or some of the extended hours, which are on the website. Some really cool news for Southwest Transit. So Southwest Transit is awarded the Minnesota Public Transit Association's Transit System of the Year Award for 2024.
Oh, cool.
So the last time we won it was back in about 2008, and the award will be presented to Southwest Transit on October 4th in Mankato. So I want to give a big shout out to all the folks at Southwest Transit who did a fantastic job this year with between State Fair, Event Service, and Prime, and all these other services that are being run for earning this award. And of course, one of the big things that I think garnered a bunch of attention is that this other item, which is that there is a launch of the autonomous vehicles. So that will be happening on November 18th in Eden Prairie. So stay tuned, more information to come on that. But that will be a big celebration because we'll be, I think, one of the first, and the first certainly in the metro. And I think we'll be like the second in the state, because I think there was an autonomous vehicle work up in Duluth. So so this is like really, really big for us, the first in our metro, and it's a great way to to innovate and to look at how we can solve some of the driver shortage challenges. And and I'm putting that out there. I'm saying that because I know that there's some comments of like, well, we shouldn't be taking jobs away from people and stuff. And it's like, well, the reason why autonomous vehicles are needed is because we can't find qualified drivers. And we've been searching. It's been really, really challenging. So, just like there's a bus driver shortage, there's also a bus driver shortage for students. There's also a driver shortage for transit vehicles too. So autonomous vehicles help bridge that gap and lower some costs over time. So they'll be a great asset to our communities. So that'll be launching on November 18th. So stay tuned for more information. And that is all I have.
Maybe quick on that, on the Southwest Transit note. I didn't mention this, but the Renaissance Festival service just wrapped up and transported over 30,000 people somewhere around 30,000 people to the Renaissance Festival. What I love personally about this, and I shared this with the businesses at the last meeting, that was 30,000 people that got to go through our downtown and see how pretty and cute and lovely and fun it is. And so I thought that was really cool that there's that many people that were funneled through our downtown to get to Renfest. Great for Southwest Transit as well. Very exciting. But I kind of loved the piece where they were all coming through our community and getting to see it.
Actually, to add to what you just said, I think one of the things that we learned in the last transit meeting, Transit Commission meeting, was that unlike the state fair service, where something like over like 97% of all the riders are actually people from Chaska, Carver, Victoria, who actually get on buses here and go to the state fair. It's almost the opposite of the Ren Fair riders, because of parking so restricted, people need to park elsewhere. So a lot of the people coming to ride the bus in Southwest Transit to the Renfest are actually from like Maple Grove, Plymouth, and other places, other cities that are coming into Chaska to get a ride, and then riding our great bus service, and then seeing our community, through the bus. So it's a kind of a really cool thing. So something that's just like kind of interesting is that, this is a sense of a great way to kind of showcase our community too, for people to see it. Mhm. So yes, that's all I got, but thank you for mentioning that too. Yep.
Thank you. You're up.
I just have two things because a lot has been mentioned, which is great. I feel like October 26th is like just going to be the jam-packed day of the century, mostly Halloween. But I think we'd be remiss not to mention that there's a trick or treat at the Chaska Commons earlier in the day, so your kids can get the full benefit of their costumes that day.
Candy up.
11 a.m. Load up the candy. Looks like they have bounce houses and character meet and greets, and businesses are handing out candy, and that's up at the Chaska Commons. So,
They've done that before?
yeah, I think they started it last year.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure they're probably growing on it. It looks like they've got, a nice complex of businesses over in there participating. So I just think that would be really fun to jump up there and then come down. And it's super fun to do the downtown Halloween trick or treat event as well, and then go to the community center and do the jamboree, because that's amazing. They
Don't
have a
have
little
enough
DJ
candy.
in there, and and I'm sure the scouts will put on their haunted house, which is like $1, and it's the best thing ever. So it's just a fun day. And coincide with that day, it's our fall cleanup day. And so that's down at Athletic Park from 8 a.m. to 2. I know it doesn't feel like fall, but it's coming. So
It feels like fall.
prepared. I don't think
I'm vibing.
I've spent a lot of
Today.
time outside. I don't know.
Today,
It doesn't
but-
really feel like
fall
fall. to me.
vibing.
It's gonna be 80 again.
The colors are starting to feel like it.
The colors look at it and you can, see it kind of happening in the yards,
That's the
but
best of both worlds. You get
it is.
colors with warmth.
Yes. So that's all I have.
All right. Elise,
Nothing.
how about if you talk about what happened today? What'd we do today?
Sure.
I think we should talk about that. And I'm gonna give it all to you. Give you all the credit for taking care of it.
Actually, Denise took care of all of it, but
Well, then you can give her credit.
I will let her know. This is Customer Service Week, and so one thing that I have the pleasure of participating with the mayor and Matt is going around to each of our different departments and thanking them for their customer service. I think a lot of people forget that government is a lot of customer service. And so thanking our employees and just the attention that they give to our residents and customers on a daily basis is huge. It makes everybody's job a lot easier when we're able to respond quickly and answer their questions or fix a water main break or whatever it might be. So we went around, hit each of the different departments today, just thanking them.
Thank you. Good report. Do you have anything else?
Unless you'd like me to say anything else.
Unless what?
Well, it's your director.
Anything else you want me to share?
I can't think of anything right now. Not done yet, but I can't think of anything. Michael, anything?
A report, Your Honor.
Pat?
Nope.
I don't have too much myself either. Just a few things. It's already been echoed up here, but please take the time to either attend or watch the candidates forum for mayor on October 10th at 7 p.m. So I say it every year, be an educated voter, know what you're voting, and please take the time to watch that, so, or see it, whatever, however you want to do it, so. The Chaska Town Course fall rates went into effect October 1st, so get a little better bargain, golfing, so that's good. Already talked about that. Just upcoming meetings. Our next meeting is October 21st. Then we go to November 4th. And then it is November 18th. And at the 18th, we have, we're gonna do we have a lot of budget presentations.
That's on the 4th too.
On the 4th and the 18th, yep. And then I was looking for this. When are we canvassing votes again? Just for people, if anyone wants to, that. November 12th. Does that sound
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So we have to canvass after each election. But I think we only do it during the general election.
Yep.
So it's called canvassing of votes. We go over and we look at the votes. It's not, we don't count votes, but we just certify that they're good. And then that's also done at the county. I represent our city because Chaska is the largest city in the county. So then the county's after we do or before?
Typically it's before.
Yeah, so the county does it first, then we have to do it. I just can't remember on the general election part of it, so. But if someone wants to see what that's about, it is November 12th, 5 o'clock? 5:30. And we do it right here in the council chamber.
Relatively quick.
It's very quick. The only order of business we can do is canvassing those votes. There's nothing else takes place. But they're open for people to come to if you choose. I know that I've been in many at the county and there are people that come and can ask questions and just look at the process with what's going on in the world about, seems like people are being unfair and all votes aren't counted. I think our county does a really good job and I really don't have those concerns here. So we're very fortunate that we have a good voting system around here, so. That's really all I have. I don't have anything else. Anybody else? Last call? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Council Wong,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hubbard to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Have a great night. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Enjoy the warm weather.